Hello, I'm Kath Roberts. I'm a home-based business entrepreneur and coach, providing you with tips, tricks and information on how to be unstoppable. Today I want to talk about the self-fulfilling prophecy. Have you heard it? It's essentially a prediction that causes it to become true. It's a prophecy declared as a truth, but when in reality, well, there's actually no evidence to suggest that the intended outcome is likely. Now, the problem with this is that it changes people's behaviour through perhaps some deep-seated fear or belief that causes those reactions to become true. Now, this body of work, it was developed by the sociologist Robert Merton back in 1949, and it really is rather important because it teaches us that our reaction to our circumstances and the meaning that we ascribe to our perceptions around those circumstances are just as important as the circumstances themselves. So we get what we expect in life. Now, there's another important study by Rosenthal and Jacobson, who selected 18 classrooms. Now, within those classrooms, they targeted, if you like, or highlighted 20% of the pupils. They then went on to communicate to the teachers in those classrooms that those highlighted pupils were in some way more academically gifted and were probably more likely to progress positively throughout the course of the academic year. Well, of course, that group was measured at the end of the year, and these were the results. Those children increased their verbal ability by 2 IQ points. They increased their reasoning ability by 7 IQ points. And they increased their overall IQ ability by 4 points. So they did actually intellectually bloom. Now, the self-fulfilling prophecy is also sometimes referred to as the Pygmalion effect, named after George Bernard Shaw's play. And of course, this was adapted into the film My Fair Lady. And that obviously is a story about Professor Higgins, who insists that he can take a Cockney flower girl and through strict training and dressing and such can, well, turn her into a duchess. Now, he does manage to achieve his objective, but there is a central point, if you like, in the story which is conveyed by the key character, Eliza Doolittle, when she's speaking to Higgins' friend, which is Pickering. And she sort of makes the point about saying, you know, strictly speaking, you know, with the ways of dressing and the ways of speaking and so on, that's fine. But what actually is the key difference between a lady and a flower girl is not how she behaves, but actually how she's treated. She goes on to say that Professor Higgins to Professor Higgins, she's always going to be a flower girl because he's always treated her as a flower girl. Whereas to Pickering, she can be a lady because he's always treated her as a lady, and he always did. So, you know, we do form expectations of ourselves and of others based around events and circumstances in our lives. And we do then go on to communicate those expectations through subtle cues, through our body language, for example, and through words that we use and how we say things to people. And sometimes also, equally important, by what we don't say, actually. And people around, they pick up these cues and they adjust their behaviour accordingly. The results being that our expectations become true. So expect the best of yourself and others, because expectations form your future. And as you begin to change your expectations, then you begin to change your outcomes. Thank you.